Welcome, everyone. We're so excited to be introducing to you a new project that we're doing together. Tiana and myself, Sharon, we're doing this mastermind group that Tiana's amazing idea, and she asked me to join in on the venture, and I said yes.
Well, I was inspired from our interactions. We'll tell the story later about where this idea came from, which was pretty cool. But
Yeah.
maybe first, maybe some of you don't know what a mastermind is. Sharon, you want to tell us what is a mastermind?
Yeah, so the Mastermind Group was formally introduced in a book, a very popular book, Think, Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it's all about groups coming together with a similar but also a little bit different mindset. It's business owners that are supporting each other, keeping each other accountable, and just being there for each other and teaching each other.
Yeah, so a mastermind group is sort of a peer-to-peer mentoring group. Having people come together, in this case, business owners that all bring our own unique gifts and experience and abilities and perspective to help one another. It's kind of like having your dream team of people, right? None of us are perfect in everything. We all have certain strengths and certain weaknesses. So to have this sort of mentoring group to come together, brainstorm, come up with new possibilities, help us fine tune whatever we're wanting to put out there. There's so many benefits that you can get from having a group of peers to help you with whatever you're focused on. And there's a networking aspect as well of having different people maybe that you want to co-create and collaborate with.
Yes. And our mastermind is a little bit different than most of them. I mean, I'm sure there might be one similar out there. The Cosmic Mastermind is what we're calling it. And you can elaborate on that, Tanya.
So we came up with this idea for the Cosmic Mastermind. Both Sharon and I are people who are on a spiritual journey, and we like to use all the different tools and resources that are out there for ourselves as we navigate the world. And also it comes into play as business owners. So both of us are interested in astrology and human design. There are all these different systems that help you to know who you are and what are your gifts and where are your challenges. And so we had this idea, like, wouldn't it be really cool if this mastermind group had people that had all the different energies coming together? So if you're familiar at all with, let's say, astrology, and you might have a person who's a Leo and they're very good with communicating and expressing and kind of shining their light. And then you might have somebody who's a Virgo who is really good with paying attention to all of the details and catching something that you've missed. And so this idea of having all these different strengths come together from the astrology perspective, and then human design, which Sharon is much more knowledgeable than me. But what I'm familiar with in human design is most of us don't have all of our 9 centers defined. And some people might not have any defined, and some people might have some. But the idea with Sharon and I, what we discovered is that together our energies make a 100% whole, complete system. So
Yeah, that's so cool.
yeah. And that's actually, I guess that would lead into how this idea came up in the first place, because Sharon and I have been friends for several years. And every now and then, even though we have our busy lives and our busy businesses, we'll get together and have lunch and we'll talk about things and we'll talk about our business. And so at this particular time, I was wanting to work on creating online courses. And yet I was feeling very stuck. I knew this is what I wanted to work on. I had this idea in my head, but for some reason, I was having a hard time just getting myself to do it, the energy, the focus to do it. And then when I met with Sharon, it wasn't like she said something revolutionary that I'd never heard before, but she'd said like, oh, just get started, just do it, and something. But the weirdest thing was that I got home and I was just full of energy and focus and excitement and ready to do it. And this just carried on. After we met for lunch, I was just like, boom, 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 getting so much done. And I was thinking back about it later, like, what did Sharon say that really lit the fire under my butt? And there wasn't anything, it wasn't about what she said. In this case, it was about the energy that she brought. So that's what made me wonder, like, I wonder what her human design is. And I asked her for that information and I plugged it into my little human design app. And sure enough, boom, this is where I found that we had 100% whole, complete energy. So where I'm missing, where I'm not defined, Sharon is defined, and vice versa. Our energies together created this wholeness that gave me what I was missing to move forward. And so part of the idea is just by Sharon and I being there at each of these mastermind meetings, everyone will have access to that energy. Maybe wherever you're missing, suddenly you get the inspiration or the drive or the motivation or the energy for wherever you're stuck.
Yes, totally. And so I thought it was really neat because you texted me and you said, I felt so motivated after I saw you. Do you have a defined ego center? And I said, yes, I do. And you're like, that's it. It was like, oh, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So you got that will motivation from that will ego center, heart center, some people call it in human design. And I feel like when I'm with you, I get the inspiration and the energy from your defined, maybe head, your generator. You're generating energy. And so I'm always inspired after I meet with you. I feel like there's been times when I've met with you and the next day I've gotten like 2 new clients. Things like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to meet with Diana because her energy is just right there where I need it. And so I felt that before you clued into that, I felt that, but I never thought about looking at it until you plugged it in and it was like, we're 100% match. I was like, I have never seen that before. So this is really cool. And I think the idea of it is amazing. When the group that we're calling in that are going to all meet for a reason, and I feel like it's being divinely orchestrated right now, we're all going to match up in certain ways and feed each other in all these different ways, energetic ways. And it's going to end up being such a beautiful experience. And I'm so excited to be doing this with you. I'm so thankful that you had the idea, the inspiration.
Your energy helped me to yeah, so it's really cool because it's a mixture of like everything. One thing is the energetic component, and the other thing is the experience that people bring, and the other thing is people's different gifts, and then the collaboration and the brainstorming. So yeah, let's talk more specifically about why would somebody join a mastermind? What are some of the benefits that you can get?
Yes. Okay. So the first one is collaboration, of course, which we talked about a little bit, but just a platform for us to partner and share things with, that energy of camaraderie and making new friends and networking.
Yeah, I absolutely hate networking. Actually, when I first moved to Austin, I didn't know anybody. And I had another friend who was a hypnotherapist as well, and kind of like pushed me to go to these networking events. I hate networking. I hate networking events. But what's cool about this is because already you're coming together, we're not going to have more than 10 people, and we're going to kind of hand pick, cultivate a really balanced group. It's going to be for 6 months. And so this small group of people that you really get to know and work together with over 6 months, that kind of a network, not just like a bunch of schmoozing with people and exchanging business cards and not really knowing who they are. We're going to all know each other really well. What I found over the years of being in practice here in Austin, over time, meeting different people, is also referring people. People refer to me and I refer to people. You start to know, oh yeah, so-and-so does this and so-and-so does that. And so there's both the collaboration, like, oh, let's do this project together. But then there's also like, oh, you know, who would be good to help you with that? Both the collaboration and the networking is really big. And I think that, again, if we're looking at things from a spiritual perspective, these are the times that we're moving in. This is what the Aquarian Age is all about. It's like, oh, we've all been working on our own separately, doing everything, pushing, efforting to get your business up and running and to keep it going. And it doesn't have to be so hard. We don't have to do it all by ourselves. It's much, much more fun to do it together with people that you love spending time with and hanging out with anyway. So there's that like synergistic effect of less work, more getting done, or a bigger energy field that is coming together through the group that you have access for what you're. But a big thing for me is accountability. This is huge. This is huge because when it's just you and there's no one to answer to, which of course on some levels I love, right? I love there's nobody I'm reporting to. And if I want to take a month off and go to Italy, I can take a month off. And so having your own business is great for that. And I love the freedom of that. And I don't want to see clients before 10 a.m. I don't see that's like how I structure my business.
Yeah.
But the accountability thing is like, maybe I tell myself, oh, I really want to get this project done by November 1st. And then November 1st comes and I'm like, oh, December. December, it's like, oh, I might as well just, I'm sure at the beginning of the year, I'm going to have a lot of motivation. And no one's there to tell me any different versus if I tell someone, hey, I'm going to do this November 1st, then that really helps me to stay focused, and accountability is huge.
Yeah. And that's the study I was telling you earlier. Gail Matthews, a professor of psychology, did a study on what helps people reach their goals. And that was a big thing, was having a partner and that you guys are keeping yourself accountable, having a partner that you check in with regularly and they check in with you. And that accountability was a huge difference. 78% of the people in the study were able to reach their goals when they had somebody to keep them accountable.
Wow, that's
a big thing.
amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm bad at that too, because I'm a manifester in human design and I like to do things my way. And I don't like to answer to people. The big thing with manifestors, you never tell a manifester what to do. So this will be a big lesson for me in the group, just because I tend to like to tell people, oh, do what you want, being flexible. But this is the thing that's holding me back from reaching my own goals. So this is going to be really beneficial for everyone and me.
Yeah,
big learning experience.
Yeah, I think it's very motivating to be connecting with or kind of surrounded by people who are all passionate about creating a better world or whatever creative offerings you have. There was that thing some years ago when people talked about you are the energy of the whatever 5 people that you spend the most time with or something like that, right? It's very important to surround ourselves with other people who are excited and inspired or driven, and nobody sustains that 100% of the time. And so when we're around people, those times when we're maybe dipping, just to have the energy of the others encouraging us, it really pushes us forward. It's kind of like having the benefits of, again, I keep saying dream team, but having this team, but then you're still getting to do your business the way that you want to do it, but you're having all of this other influx of ideas and perspectives to help you out.
Yeah. And so piggybacking on that, the getting motivated by each other and also the feedback from each other is very helpful, especially if it's someone that isn't like a best friend or a family member, because sometimes that energy can affect you. They feel supportive, but there might feel a little bit of energy that can get in our way sometimes. Most of the time we have friends that are supportive and family that's supportive, but behind that support might be other things like, oh, I hope that doesn't happen for them, or jealousy, or little things here and there that the energy might not being so great when the feedback comes, especially if you have a friend that's giving you feedback and they really don't know anything about what you do. It can be hard and the energy can affect you. And so I feel like it's really good to be around a bunch of people that they're not your best friends, they're not your family. They're there just to commit to supporting, giving you feedback and taking your advice as well. It's a give and take relationship. And I think that's so much more helpful than talking to a friend to get feedback, or your mom or your dad, because they're always going to have opinions that don't match up with what you're doing. What other people want you to do is different than what you know you want to do, especially if they don't know anything about entrepreneurship. That can get in the way too and hold you back because your mind starts thinking, oh, are they right?
Yeah, I have the opposite experience with my family and friends, where it's just because they think everything that you do is wonderful. They don't give very necessarily constructive criticism. They're like, oh, you're fabulous. And you're like, no, really, tell me what's wrong.
Oh, yeah.
You also can have that issue with your family and friends.
That's true. Yeah.
You don't get the constructive feedback that you need. And so having other people, like you said, that really understand because they're also business owners and have gone through and also need to market their business and do their own records and deal with clients or customers or all of these things, do social media or whatever. So that's like the whole idea of it being peers. And also when we are putting this group together, we'll make sure that we don't have people that are in direct competition with each other, because then, like you said, that's where there might be conflict of interest or jealousy and so forth. So there's a questionnaire that we're going to have people fill out if you're interested, and that'll tell us a lot about you as far as what kind of business you have and what are your strengths, and also your signs and your energy and this, so that we can cultivate a really amazing team. It's also that we all get to learn from each other. The way that the mastermind group is that each person gets a little chance to share or ask for help or guidance on something. But then each time we have sort of a spotlight person who gets extra time and focus. But even when it's not our spotlight, we can learn so much from each other, and just listening and hearing how someone else is working through an issue. And maybe that's not my issue right at this moment. And then 2 months from now, I'm like, oh yeah, now I get. So being able to really listen and learn from anything that anyone's doing, it helps us all to grow together. So I love that. I have a lot of friends that are entrepreneurs as well, and we like to talk about these kinds of things. And so like Sharon and I'm always getting ideas from my friends and like, oh wow, I didn't even think of that. That's such a better way to do that than the way that I've been doing that, or that's so much easier than the way that I've been doing that. So there's a lot of opportunity to continue to learn. And I think this whole thing of Cosmic Mastermind, we're wanting to attract people that are kind of on some spiritual path or self-development path or growth path. These are the people who are passionate about whatever you're offering and continuing to grow your business and what you're offering, but also understanding the part about yourself as well. Your business is a reflection of yourself. And so continuing to want to grow ourselves. This is learning on both the business level, but also on the personal development level and the spiritual level. There's so much that we can gain from collaborating and connecting and working together.
Yeah, definitely on all levels. We'll be learning and growing and expanding, and that we will be handpicking the people in this group, and all of them will have this yearning to better themselves and to grow and expand personally and on the business level, and to look towards the universe, universal laws, human design, astrology, those kind of things. There's so many for ways to improve and understand themselves and others. Basically, collaboration, networking, accountability, getting motivated, getting feedback from each other, learning from each other, and just forming this really awesome dream team community. Like Diana says, it's going to be a really very amazing time.
Yeah, for me, sometimes it just is really hard doing everything. And this feeling of, oh, when you are struggling, that it's like, oh, just you. You're wishing like, oh, I wish, because I collaborate like the podcast I do. It's so nice to have another person that you can bounce ideas if you're not sure about your idea, or again, if you're overextended, you can ask them to help take on something. Just this idea of, oh, you're not alone. You don't have to do it alone. Let's all do it together and let's have fun. And that excitement, passion, and energy is very infectious. And in a really positive way, we can be kind of lifting each other up. So I'm super excited, like Sharon said, about this for me as well as for all of you. That we're connected to and want to spend this time together. So who is this for? This Cosmic Mastermind group. So if you own a business and you're ready to take it to the next level, this group is for you.
Yes, and this group is for you if you look to astrology and human design and the universal laws for assistance in your life planning.
And if you're open to receiving advice from other entrepreneurs, taking in other perspectives and learning and growing from that, this is for you.
That's a really big deal, being open-minded, open-hearted, and you're willing to share advice and resources from your experience with the other members of the group. It's very important too.
And you want to make a bigger impact in the world. We can all do that together, shine our lights, and just imagine if you had all these little candles shining, how much illuminated everything is. We all want to shine our lights together and help each other to get brighter as well. So how does this work, Sharon?
So the structure of these mastermind group meetings, we're going to be meeting for 90 minutes twice a month, and that's going to be on the second and fourth Thursdays, I believe. correct? Right. This will be online.
7 to 8:30 Central Time.
7 to 8:30, sorry. 7 to 8:30 p.m. Central Time. We're meeting on Zoom. Well, the first meeting that we meet will be a little bit different from the rest because we'll be introducing each other and getting to know each other a little bit. We'll create a sheet with everybody's information, your human design, your astrology, your business, so that you have that to know about each person. And then the first 5 minutes of each meeting, we'll be checking in with everybody on your goals and how you're doing. Maybe some triumphs you're having, some celebrations, and maybe some challenges you're having you can share during your 5 minutes.
And then one person each time we meet, we'll have a 20-minute sort of, we said, spotlight time where we can really go more deeply in whatever challenges that you're having or anywhere that you're wanting some new ideas and input or support or guidance. Each person will get to have that.
Yes. And you'll know ahead of time when it's your time for the spotlight that week.
Yeah. And so we thought it would be a great time to start in January, the beginning of the year, right? At the end of the year, you kind of look back at the year and assess what you've accomplished and what you've learned and where you're struggling and like, oh, what do I want next year to be about and your upcoming projects. Usually at the beginning of the year in January, we all have something that we want to create or improve or manifest. And so we thought it'd be really great to use that Capricorn season energy of January to kick this off. And it's going to be a 6-month program where we meet twice a month, as Sharon said, for 6 months. So we're really going to be able to forge some really great connections and really get to know each other and support each other over that amount of time.
Yes, and mastermind groups that have set dates for meeting and everybody is showing up and staying accountable are the most successful mastermind groups. We have the set time, we have the dates already planned out. And if you can't show up, that's fine. If there's 1 week we can't show up, you can watch the recording from that week.
Yeah, but try to commit, right? So not
try to commit.
Like every month skipping a meeting because it's a certain energy that brings in. Other people are needing to get your feedback just the same way as when it's your spotlight, you want other people to show up. We really want to call in and attract people who are committed to this process. So check and see if you can set that aside and set it aside on your calendar. And yes, maybe if you're going on vacation in May or something like that, fine for that week or whatever, but not you're only making half of the time or you're only making 2/3 of the time. We really do want people who are committed to it.
Are committed to this. Yes, definitely. And so we're meeting online and the fee is $600 if you want to pay $100 monthly, or if you'd like to pay up front, we've made it a little more affordable, $495 to pay up front for the whole 6 months of meeting. And so that includes our meetings together. Also, we're going to put together a way for us to get in touch with each other, maybe a Facebook group, maybe a Telegram. We have to see who's in the group and what you're willing to get on.
We'll create an online community just for the people that are in this group so that between the times that we're meeting, you can continue to share and collaborate and get feedback for whoever wants to participate in that. It is really to create this community that is accessible to each other throughout the 6 months.
Yeah. So if this is something that excites you, it lights up your heart, and you really want to do this, you can find the link.
If you're curious about this and you're thinking this is something you're going to be interested in, the next step would be to fill out the questionnaire that we've created. Sharon made a really nice survey online. So we're going to have a link for that with this video. Go there and tell us about yourself and your business and so forth. Starting now, we have a couple months to cultivate who's going to be in this group. And then we'll let everyone know by the end of December before everything kicks off in January.
Yeah. So fill out the survey. We're choosing 8 to 10 members and we'll let you know from there. But if this excites you, I hope you'll take time to fill out that survey and join in our Cosmic Mastermind.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Tiana.